Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Oh man, I'm beat up today. I went to work yesterday, and it was just rough. We had to keep ahead of the concrete guys, so we were running galvanized pipe in the floor, and I spent the whole day just hunched over, just bent over, picking up this heavy steel pipes. You got to spin it into the connectors. Oh my god, just a long day, and then the building went on fire. Had nothing to do with me. We don't know who did it, or at least I didn't know who did it by the time I left. But it was a long, crazy, rough day, and man, I'm sore today. Hard work, you know. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? But anyway, this is Sunday Comics. Sorry about last week. Last week, I just couldn't. I don't know what it is. My phone just stopped working. It just stopped working. My and in order to get into StreamYard, I had to get a password on my phone. So I couldn't get my phone to work, so I couldn't get StreamYard to work. So I just stopped. And then at night it just started working. I don't know what it was. It wouldn't accept the charge. And then all of a sudden it started working. And then the funny thing is when I went to work on Monday, everybody was like, "Is your phone acting weird?" So I wonder if there was like a magnetic pulse or something. I don't know. I don't know. But everybody's phones were working. So I got a new phone. At least I got a rebate for the old phone for like $1,200. So that'll pay for the new phone, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But I got a new phone, brand new phone. There you go. And then I went in and I changed all my settings, so that shouldn't happen again. So that's what happened last week. I did Sunday Comics later at night because I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. So let's get the accounting out of the way. So Heroic Tales 2 is available still on Fun by Comic. That I'm gonna finish bagging and board and all. I still got boxes of them in the shrink wrap, so I gotta take them out of the shrink wrap and bag and board them. I want to I'm on a waiting list for a comic convention near me. Will be my first one. That'll be exciting. Marcus, how you doing, Marcus? Sorry about Friday night. I didn't do it's clobber time because I was working. Just it is crunch time now, and rumor has it that I'm going to be back on normal schedule because they're going to get rid of the shift works and just do regular work and then overtime. So everybody's happy about that. Basically means more money, but it also means longer days. There we go. We got my drive-by blessing by Zachtan. How you doing? Creative Welshman, how are you doing? Welsh blessings. By the way, I sent you a link to a weird album on X. Okay, I'll check it out after this. I'll check it out. Yeah, I know. Staying up at midnight is rough when you've been up at like what 4 or 5 in the morning. I know. My only saving grace is that with this schedule I could basically sleep till like noon. Just check it. I don't know. I got distracted. I started looking at the message that Wells was. I'll look at it after this. So we're back to Brittany. Are you here? Is Brittany working at the comic book store? I know last week she was all ready to show and everything, and then I didn't show up. So I hope I didn't discourage you over at Fox Prowl Comics. Brittany's here. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. How's everything? How's Ron? How's Ron doing? Ron, Brittany's husband, is hard at work on that. He's working on a story for my character Raven, and he is working on the third Raven story. Renzo has the script for the first Raven story, and I need to finish writing the second Raven story. So Ron, take your time. Take your time. You're a whiles away. You're a whiles away. Everybody saying hello. I wish I could sleep late, but I get up anyway. I know. Not now. Now I'm used to sleeping late because of this shift. But when I get back to normal shift, even on Saturdays and Sundays, I'll be waking up early. Some delicious Tim Hortons coffee. Delicious Tim Hortons coffee. We got Ben Sabar. How you doing, Ben? Good to see you. Good. Ben's a regular. Thank you, Ben. I'm working a frost problem here. It was my birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. We have no power at the house. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, the 21 candles on your cake should have lit up the house, right? There you go. I remember as a kid, the power, so far the power in this house, knock on table, hasn't gone out yet. But I remember when I was a kid, it seemed like at least once a year the power would go out growing up in my house. And only once did the power go out for like more than 24 hours. I remember once there was like a 3-day blackout. But I remember the power going out, and it was like fun. It was like exciting, the whole neighborhood dark, the street lights dark. I don't know. I kind of thought it was like an exciting adventure, different than the norm. I'm always that person that likes things a little bit different, like, okay, as much as I like my routine, and I do like my routines, every once in a while it's fun when circumstances change your routine. Oh, okay, you're okay. Good. Did something happen? Did you have a storm? Who? What is this? Who is that flying? That's Polaris. That's Polaris. Lorna Dane. That's her first costume. I think it was designed by Neil Adams. I was born in the 1965 blackout. Oh, okay. Praying for power to come on. Blessings and birthday wishes. Happy birthday. Okay. And so, all right, we got a bunch of people here. So let's take a look at this comic. As you can see, this is the copy that I bought off the newsstand. You can see it's got the well-read marks. It's got whatever the store shop 17 September. I don't know what exactly the code was, but they wrote on the comic. And the day reality went wild. So a little recap is they're fighting Mutant X Proteus, Myra McTaggart's son. And he was born a mutant, and he has the power to control reality. Except and his only weaknesses are well, he has quite a few weaknesses. So he could control reality. He could warp reality around at his will. And then, but metal can contain or imprison him, which makes no sense because he was able to manipulate Wolverine's claws, but yet he can't manipulate the metal room that he was contained in. But what do you want me to say? And the more he uses his power, the more he burns up his body. And then, like, he's a spirit form. His spirit releases and takes over another body and then slowly consumes that. It's like a horror character. This is a superhero horror character. If they were to do this story justice, they would make a superhero horror story. And like I said, the last body that he took was his own father. Yeah, and then some creepy Oedipus stuff is coming out of his mouth. That seems to happen a lot with Chris Claremont. Jim Shooter said that when he was on my channel, that Chris Claremont had some creepy issues. And I just humored him because I couldn't think of any, but now I remember. Now I remember. So this point going forward, I'll talk about the comic and then chat back and forth until the end. So this is, let's see, who is the art over here? Oh, wow. I didn't even realize it's Perez and Austin. So this is George Perez, inked by Terry Austin. Wow. It's funny because just casually looking at it, I saw John Byrne. But now I can see. My trick for figuring out the artists is I look at the faces. Everybody seems to have a distinctive face. And that's a press. Oh, and I just noticed this. I drew in blue dots for Storm's eyes. I don't know why it bothered me so much that they forgot to, not forgot, but when she's using her powers, her eyes get white. taking Freud to the extreme here, trying to kill his mother and kill his father and take his mother. Well, he already killed his father. So step one. So let's open up the comic. Let's see. Do we need more light? I think we need more light. Okay, I don't care if my face glows. So we got Chris Claremont, John Byrne, author, plotters, penciler. And then Terry Austin is the inker. Tom Orzechowski, letterer. Glennis Wynn, colorist. Roger Stern, editor. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. So the action of the tiger. So now we got a cool splash page of what is this? Edinburgh, Scotland, just going nuts. I just realized this sign says Burn. So I guess if you draw it, you could throw your name in there. And he's just, Proteus is just waving around and, you know, messing up the town. Now, I can't help but be analytical. And I just wonder how much of his power is illusions and how much is actually warping reality. I don't know. It's pretty inconsistent sometimes. He could control reality, but yet metal could contain him. But he could control metal because he did that to Wolverine. So little inconsistent. You know, I don't know exactly how to explain that, how to rectify that, but it bothers me. So all of this is just a little catch up, which I already explained. But look at the coloring here; it's all bizarre. So this is Joseph McTaggart. That's Myra's husband, and apparently there's some backstory there, and it's some wonderful writing by Chris Claremont in like two little word balloons. They gave us so much. Basically, he beat her up and left her hospitalized, and read between the lines, he did other stuff to her while that put her in the hospital, and so she was in the hospital recovering and pregnant, and she hasn't seen him in 20 years. So he's a local politician. Go figure. Politicians are always bad news. It's funny because Brittany's here, Ron's husband. Brittany's here. Ron is her husband. And he drew the suit. And it's funny how when I wrote that story years ago, because I wrote it way before the comic came out, the idea of a person blackmailing a politician for doing bad stuff was kind of shocking. And now it's just taken for granted, you know. But I don't have a high view of politicians. I just find it funny people who are like upset with that comment. It's like, yeah, what do you think politicians do? You know, it's not even fantasy anymore. It's not even supervillains anymore. It's real life. So the tiger. Yeah, the actions of the tiger. He considers himself an apex predator. You know, so he's the tiger. You know, that's just a creative name for the story. Dan's Comic Corner. How you doing? Good to see you. Good morning. I like that avatar. I think he could temporarily affect reality except metal, in which case he uses illusions. That's really the only way that it makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. That's the kind of stuff I look for, is these little inconsistencies. Because I'm a pest. I learned a new word. I learned a new definition to an old word. Dunce. You know, a dunce means that, you know, you wear a dunce cap means you're a dumb person. But the original word dunce was John Duns Scotus, was a Scottish from Edinburgh philosopher. And what he did was you had to define everything. In order to understand anything, you had to define everything. So he literally would okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Get the definition, get to different, and it's not bad. And 200 years later, his followers, the people that subscribed to his philosophy, were called duncemen. And when you argued with the duncemen, they just would stop you and define everything. Define. And the opponents would be like, you're a dunce. We're not getting anywhere. All you're doing is interrupting me and asking for definitions, and nobody understands anything. You're not helping. You just, it's just a waste of time. It's a useless endeavor to constantly do this. And it became a derogatory. Oh, don't even talk to him. He's a dunce. Meaning you're just going to waste your time. And later on, it turned into stupid. But I think that's interesting. Apropos of nothing, but I'm kind of a dunce now because I like to know all the definitions. I like to see how things work. I kind of have like an absolute morality about things. I'm starting to realize I'm identifying more and more with Steve Ditko's way of seeing the world. How many times do you need to steal things before you're a thief? Once you steal something, you're a thief. Once you commit a crime, you're a criminal. Things like that. I own things, they're mine. I get to control them. I create things, they're mine. You don't get to put them on your channel for money without asking me, without my permission. I don't care if the whole world is against me. That's the way I think. So let's look at this. We got, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, these people? They've done you no harm. Leave them be. They are human, Myra, and they must be taught who's their master. Now, is he talking about the X-Men? Is he talking about the people of Edinburgh? He's talking about everybody. Look at this little shot of all of the X-Men over here. We got Phoenix, Storm, Polaris, Cyclops. Oh, I want to talk about this on the cover. I forgot about this. You could feel it. I don't know how many times I put tracing paper over this and drew Cyclops. Drew that beat. I don't know. I just, for a bunch of reasons. First off, I thought it was a cool pose. It was a cool picture. And it was just a good way to like get a superhero male form, so I would draw this, flip it over back and forth. This is really, really worn, but I loved it. I loved it. So now we got this hot chick in a mini skirt, and as if that's not bad enough, she's carrying a baby, and the wall's going to collapse on her. Cyclops is blasting the wall. It seems like Proteus, his power has a short range, almost like it's just a field around him. The farther away from him you are, unless he's directly attacking. I'm just trying to come up with rules. Otherwise, he's unbeatable. So Phoenix is just she's grabbing civilians. I like that. I like when they show the heroes, like, you got to rescue the civilians. You got to do this. It shows that they're laboring under harder conditions than the villain. The villain is just lashing out. The heroes got to defend themselves. They got to save civilians, and they got to take out the villain. So they got three things against them when the villain just does whatever they want. Nightcrawler is jumping from blob of rocks. You can see he's got a little kid. It's kind of hard to see here. And I like that he's talking. He goes, "Hang on, Liebchen." I guess Liebchen means little girl, and the little girl says, "You're blue." He goes, "Oh, you noticed? I'm Nightcrawler. The name Nightcrawler is the name. Swashbuckling's the game. Agility is my specialty." So I like that. He's trying to calm the little girl as bad stuff is about to happen. Proteus reality warp is transforming the storefront into real bees. They're swarming, attacking anything that moves. If I do not act at once, these people will suffer horrible, agonizing death. And yet I do not wish to hurt these bees either, more than I have to. They should not have to pay the price for their creator's madness. So Storm just lands. Look at Storm. Just nobody draws her better than John Byrne. That's one of my hills to die on. I got plenty of hills that I'll die on, but this is one of them. So she stands there, and the wind just blows away the bees. And then we got Wolverine over here protecting this old lady. Watch it, Granny. I'm fighting it, but I'm starting to become unglued inside, just like I did when Proteus zapped me this morning. So Wolverine is starting to freak out. This isn't all-powerful, mighty, cool guy Wolverine. This is I like this Wolverine, this version of Wolverine. He's like a borderline animal. No willpower, no control. It just and now this reality, like he's just grounded in the now. Is the way to describe him. There is no past, there's no present to Wolverine. He's just, especially when he's focused. And now reality is changing, so he's grounded in the now, and the now is uncertain. So he's freaking out. I love this. Again, this is the version of the X-Men that I love the most. When Proteus screws up reality, it drives my senses crazy, and then my claws and strength, none of them do any good. Boop. I got you. And Polaris is using her magnetic abilities to save Wolverine. Because I'm running from a scrap, and for the first time, I'm glad. That I like is he's terrified, and he's just like, I'm accepting the reality of the situation. I like that. Wolverine, because with Proteus's weakness to metal, and then we got Metal Stab Man. It's just a foregone conclusion that Wolverine is going to save the day, right? Right? Well, we'll find out. Let's check out the chat. Okay. Zach Tam says, basically the two types of people who get into politics are those who want power and those who want to stop people from getting the first group from getting power. Yeah. And it's biased. The system is biased against the second group because those people aren't going to form alliances and get all the money and make promises to all the big groups. We got to get the money out of politics. I could go on a big political tirade, but yes, we got to get the money out of politics. It's the only way to save the country. Because right now, anybody who runs for office, I immediately distrust. And I think I'm proven right 999 times out of 100. Good morning. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Excuse me. Proteus versus Apocalypse. There you go. I heard they brought back Proteus, right? Who's the real mutant of mutants? His powers seem to be line of sight. Also, good teamwork saving the civilian. Yeah, I love that stuff. I absolutely do. It shows that they're heroes, they're working under a handicap. Hey, Genuine Comics here. How you doing? Oh, man, I just saw on Twitter just before I went live that the Safeguard preview. That looks awesome. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we got Dave Brink over here. He's the guy behind Genuine Comics. He's got the Perfect 10 collection on is it on Kickstarter and Fund My Comic? And pretty soon Safeguard. It looks so good. Some great comics. Great if you're into superhero comics. It's just so good. I hope for my comics to be as good as his someday. Let's turn the page. We got this gum fight ad that, like I said, every time I see it as a kid, it just, I got issues. This one just drove me crazy. I don't know what it was, but it just irrationally made me angry. So now we got a catch-up page. So there's no rhyme or reason. Proteus actions on a whip. So remember, during the Jim Shooter years, Jim Shooter had a philosophy that every comic is somebody's first comic. And as such, kind of bring them up to speed. And it's funny, a little aside here, is that the great debate is why does manga kick comics ass in today modern America? And everybody says because the manga is easy to follow. You could just go pick up the first volume and read the whole story. And I'm going to say, yeah, there's some truth to that, but not all of it. Remember, my first X-Men comic was 114. And the X-Men were already dead in the Savage Land, or thought dead, and it was just a split issue, and I didn't know what was going on. It was after this whole Antarctica thing. But it was so good. it was worth investigating. And I think that's it. Just comics were good. Comics were cheap. They were everywhere, and they were good. So now comics are expensive. They're in localized stores that are, except for Fox Prowl. Fox Prowl is a great comic book store, but for the most part, they're hard to find. Kids don't drive, and they're not as good as they used to be. So that's only part of the question. So here we go. So now we're bringing everybody up to speed. And one of my pet peeves is the constant restarting. Just have, they should have canceled. If a comic legitimately got canceled due to low sales, that's one thing. But to just arbitrarily next week we're gonna start over again with issue number 1, that drives me nuts. Like Fantastic Four never should have renumbered. Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men, never. So this is a catch-up. So we're talking about the fight in Magneto back in issue 104. That's the first time they were in Scotland, and then because Magneto threw Wolverine into this containment case, I love how they tied it all back. So it all started back in X-Men 104. That stopped the power on Mutant X's containment, and he got Agnes McWhorter. Agnes McWhorter did all this other stuff, and I just love that. How did he escape? Well, we tied it into X-Men 104. It's a pretty tight. There's little nitpicky things that I do find and talk about, but for overall, this is just so good. So now they tell us how exactly Proteus escaped. Oh, I gotta go to the chat. Oh, it's only on Kickstarter now. Okay, here we go. The Perfection Collection, Perfect 10, issues 1 to 6. Kickstarter. I highly recommend it. Check it out. Perfect 10 is it's a shame it's not selling in the hundreds of thousands. If it was an Image comic in the 90s, it would be celebrated. Everybody would be talking about it. What do we got here? Good morning. Hey, Once Was Cool. How you doing? Omnipro. Good to see you, Omnipro. And you say thank you for the link. Yeah, check it out. So let's turn the page. Ooh, even my shoulder's killing me. So Myra entered the cell to find the mummified remains of her son. So this is X's original body, which begs the question: if that's her son's body, did Myra know that he could steal bodies? You know what I mean? I need information on that. Like, is this like a second or third body? Is the body that he was born with already gone? And Myra realized he's a monster. He's killing people. He's stealing bodies. He's like a body thief. And then imprison him. How did she imprison him? That kind of stuff I'd like to know. How did she imprison him? And now Phoenix met Proteus. Phoenix is super, super powerful until she's not. He took over a multiple man's body, and that was like hollow calories. You know what I mean? Like Jamie Madrox can make the multiple man. He can make replicants of himself. And that body burnt out really quick because it's not a full human body. I kind of like that. And this is just the succession of people that he's killed. And now she's a world he could rule. Please, you're my son. Not quite, Myra. Not anymore. I have all my father's memories now. And suddenly Myra screams as her flesh and bone flow like mercury, changing Proteus' will. You fought father, eventually left him. He didn't like that. You won't do the same to me. You're mine, body and soul. Accept that, Myra. You won't like the alternative. So he's messing with her, just warping her, turns her into this like pig-like thing, and now he's being creepy. So again, as a kid, I didn't really get it, but this is Chris Claremont at his creepiest over here. What is he going to do? It's his mother, but it's also his wife. You know what I mean? Because he has the father's memories and everything like that. He steals everything about you when he takes over your body. It's just like an abomination. You know, no other way to describe it. Demonic. And keep this in mind when we go to the Hellfire Club story coming up next, how creepy Claremont's writing could be. So Cyclops, everything around us is suddenly snapped back to normal. What does it mean? Not sure, Colossus. Maybe Proteus' power is only good against one target at a time. So this is one of my theories, and as a guy who plays role-playing games quite often, his reality warping power is a line of sight. So he could do that. And if he does line of sight, it's pretty much anything he can make contact with. This is just me extrapolating. This isn't Claremont or anything like that. This is me speculating. Or he could do a radius attack. In my game, if you shoot laser beams out of your eyes, you have a range. But if you want to make it a radius attack and take out everything around you, it's 1/3. So say you could do 100 feet with your laser beam at him, just making the math easy. You could shoot 100 feet away, or you could hit everything around you at 1/3 the damage and 1/3 the range, because that concentrated energy is diffused all over the place. So that's what I think he's doing here. So he was warped reality. It was close to him, and now he's focusing it on Myra. But it's also inconsistent because he was turning bees. You know what I mean? It's so making up rules is kind of silly, but I like to do that. So now all the people freaking out and they're running away. And Banshee. Now remember, Banshee and Myra have a relationship at this point, and he's freaking out. And he feels helpless because he has no power. He lost his powers in issue 119 fighting Moses Magnum. Because I'm tired of waiting. She's the woman I love, Kersey, and you're prepared to let her die. Because I hope it doesn't come to that. But to stop Proteus, I'll sacrifice her life, my life, your life, everybody's life if I have to. You cold blood. Look, Proteus is the deadliest menace we've ever faced. He's a killer, pure and simple. Humanity means no more to him than the cows do to us. We're food. Either the X-Men stop him, Sean, or no one does. And by the time the authorities react, he'll be too powerful to beat. You're right. And if Myra dies, God grant I die with her. You talk as if you got a plan. I do. Proteus has two weaknesses, metal and this constant need for fresh host bodies. We've got to burn him out. We've got to make him burn out his present body while denying him an opportunity to possess anybody else. So Cyclops now knows that the more Proteus uses his power, the faster he burns out his body. So I love this. So Myra's freaking out, and he looks up and he sees Storm coming. So Storm is leading off the attack. You know, and I love this here. We see how big Colossus is, even when he's not in his metal form. Let's check out the... yes, he steals memories as well. So that's why he's having the feelings he has towards Myra, because he's now also her father. So he has all of these memories, plus whatever Angus McWhorter. That's probably, I didn't realize that Angus McWhorter hated the X-Men. He was in Myra's headquarters specifically to kill the X-Men. So that's probably why Mutant X hates the X-Men. I didn't even think of that. It's envy personified. Yeah, he's you know, as he becomes somebody else, his personality shifts a little bit because he has dead memories and everything. But yeah, I didn't even think of that. All right, okay, we got some ads over here. We got self-defense, karate, comic collections. I'm so mad. I wish I paid attention to this stuff as a kid. I mean, I always looked at the ads, but like, I could have got older comics for cheap. Free Marvel, DC comic lists, you know, things like that. Oh man, I'm so mad. I didn't think of it. I had access. Like at this point in 1979, you could buy a Fantastic Four for Yeah, it was expensive, but it wasn't like today expensive. Like 1979, $100 for a comic. Yeah, that's a lot of money, but you could do it. You could reasonably do it. Same with Amazing Fantasy 15. Oh my God, I could have had those. I remember my comic book store had Amazing Fantasy 15 for $65, just sitting there behind the glass. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. Back in third grade, that might as well have been $1 million. So we got the Super Friends, Plastic Man, Mighty Man, and Yuck, the world's ugliest dog. They always had these cartoons. They always had like the same thing. Like Voltron. Voltron would fight the bad guys back and forth, and then he pulls out the Sun Sword and defeats everybody. If you remember Tranzor Z, he would fight everybody and then you use his ultimate power beam and defeat everybody. Same with Thundar the Barbarian. You would fight, then pull out the Sun Sword and defeat everybody. It was always the same thing. You just wasted your time. I always used to say, Voltron, just pull out your sword and defeat the monster. But this was the same thing. Mighty Man and Yuck would fight the villain of the week. They would get their butts kicked, and then Yuck would take the doghouse off his head because he was the world's ugliest dog, and everybody would and collapse. Same thing every week. Just bad guy on it. You want to go get lunch? I know that would make for a boring comic, but that's the problem when you have the ultimate ability. Guyver, you would open up his chest and blast everything. Scrappy-Doo. And the Spider-Woman cartoon. Let's check off. Zach Tanner's off to church. Omnipro loved Mighty Man and Yuck. I'm surprised somebody else remembers it besides me. Mighty Man and Yuck, the world's ugliest dog. So Proteus needs visual contact with his victims for his reality warps to be effective. This pea soup fog should immobilize him and check his power. Wolverine or Nightcrawler might be able to get Myra away from him. It's funny, just a little apropos of nothing. This is the first time I've ever heard the phrase pea soup fog. So I remember going, it's a pea soup fog? It's a fog made out of pea soup? Like I took it literally, and it confused me, and I had to ask people. And I remember asking my teacher, and she's like, no, you never heard the expression, this fog is as thick as pea soup? Like, no. But this pea soup fog, pea soup fog. I was like, she's shooting pea soup at him? Like, it just confused the hell out of me. Nice try, witch. But you waited too long to strike. I have a fix on you now. And that's all I need. So my cloak flowing about me like liquid. So he waves his hand. Her cloak transformed. Literally in the blink of an eye, Storm finds herself frozen within a pillar of amber. So she's trapped. Now, I don't know. Did he know that claustrophobia was her weakness? Did he not care? Did he stumble upon it? I mean, he does have Madrox memories. And Madrox, one of the multiple man, he probably knows. Or, so I'm trying to think. Or was it just like a lucky coincidence? So he's like, but he goes, and now Wolverine, who's freaked out by all this, he goes, if that hunk of crystal is as solid as it looks, she'll suffocate in seconds. But if I try to save her, I'll be leaving myself open to Proteus. Just thinking about it's turning my guts to ice. Hang on, babe. These adamantium claws of mine will cut through anything. I'll get you out, I swear. So this is kind of cool because Wolverine has been a jerk since Giant Size X-Men #1. His personality is jerk. This is the first time Wolverine is showing any sort of personality. Yeah, he softened up a little bit with Mariko. But Wolverine now had... I think Dave Cockrum didn't particularly like him, and I think, Claremont didn't care one way or another, but it seemed to be a Marvel trope that there was always one guy that antagonized the leader. You had Hawkeye in the Avengers. Ben Grimm was always busting Reed Richards' chops, and now Wolverine was the foil to Cyclops. And that was it. That was his purpose. But now he's starting to get personality, And this always made this. I remember this panel made me nervous. He's just slashing at her. He's gonna cut her. He's gonna cut her. You know, it just, it scared me as a kid. Roar, roar. Was I in time? Her skin's ice cold. I can't tell if she's breathing. Shame on you, Wolverine. You should know better than to turn your back on someone who's sworn to kill. Poof. So he gets shot. Boom. What the? I'm doing what I have to do, psych. I'm not standing my friends are murdered. Not when I can help. You should have finished me with your first shot. I guarantee you won't get another one. So Banshee, boom. He just shoots him. Wow. And what's he do? He just opens up a pit below him. I love that. Just Wile E. Coyote. You know what I mean? Well, you get to defy gravity for a split second when you don't understand what's going on. So, whoop, and then he just falls, and then he closes the hole after him. That is just so freaking cool. That is a great use of the power. And then Cyclops. Proteus is taunting us. He thinks there's no way we will rescue Banshee. Well, he's in for a surprise. At full strength, Cyclops, awesome optic blast, hammer at the ground. And again, this just shows that Cyclops' blasts, there's no recoil. So he's firing at the ground, just pulverizing like a jackhammer. And it's not like because if you remember that one issue when they were leaving the Savage, he was shooting his blast into the water and propelling the boat. How come then there was recoil, but here there isn't? Because, you know, the rule of cool, I guess. Okay, Zaktan's got to leave. He's off to church. So let's turn the page. Now we got rubber masks. Rubber masks. I tell you, Red Skull mask must have been cool. You know, the rest of them were. So they were rubber masks. So you pull them over your face. Batman has got the symbol up there. Why? And as a kid, I was always like, wow, Batman's in a Marvel comic. You know, there was that kryptonite ad for a piece of rock that was spray painted green. And I was always like, Superman's in a Marvel comic. Kiss makeup kit. You know, aren't all makeup kits a Kiss makeup kit if you want it to be? You know, set of MPC wheels gets you this set of so if you cut out the wheels on these packages, you could bail away and get a model. Models were so big. We were talking about that at work the other day. Models were really big in the 70s, and all of a sudden they just stopped. So Nightcrawler, go down there and get him. On my way. So boom. So Nightcrawler runs down like an insect sticking to the wall. He's unconscious, probably in shock, and no wonder. For a few seconds, Sean was buried alive. Better get a move on. And then Proteus closes up that, and he just blindly teleports. Otherwise, you know, the reaction is born as much of panic and desperation as rational thought. After a quick heartbeat felt, Nightcrawler teleports straight up as far as he can go, taking Banshee with him. The strain almost kills them both. And then I love this. So high off the ground, no way to break our fall. Some kind of energy field. Whoop. So this is getting to be a habit. Gently, Polaris. They look like in rough shape. So Polaris, magnetic. How does magnetically take them? Like, is she pulling them by the iron in their blood? And if so, doesn't that hurt? You know, magnetics is not telekinesis. So does anybody have an explanation of how Polaris could magnetically take two full-sized humans? You know, the only explanation I could think of is iron in their blood, and that would hurt. You know, Banshee's out cold, but I think he'll be all right. Thank heaven. Nightcrawler, Kurt, you not well. Rest easy. You've heard it. Oh, you should not be on your feet. So long as I'm able to help Peter, I will. And remember, Storm, she was flying and Proteus warped reality last issue, so she smashed her shoulder into a wall. And I like that she still got the bandages over here. We're almost right down. We're down to X-Men. Scotty and Proteus seems to be strong as ever. No one said this would be easy, Havoc. And no one guaranteed we'll win either way, brother. But we have to try. I sent Phoenix on ahead. Let's get after her. So now, So Proteus is warping the ground as movement. So he's moving out of the city. And then boom, he's hit with the telepathic. So she could do these telepathic attacks. Boom, and it hits him. The rogue mutant is heading for Edinburgh Castle, and atop the rock, he doesn't make it. A psychic mind blast stops him at the very foot of the cliffs. I believe you owe me a rematch for that ambush on your island, Proteus, and I'm here to collect with interest. She looks for all the world like some great bird of prey, as beautiful and as terrifying as a star. So Claremont right over here is walking a fine line. He's also setting up the Dark Phoenix story. So Jean Grey has to be super powerful. So it's kind of like a little trap. She's got to be, she was like one-shotting people. She's super powerful. So Proteus has to be more powerful than her. Otherwise, there's no story. Like, remember, Proteus can't be detected by Cerebros. He can't be detected by Jean Grey's telepathic powers. And he already defeated her once. So this is kind of like whenever you up the stakes, you got to up the stakes. And there's no like a Doctor Who. Doctor Who's always upping the stakes to the point where it's like, knock it off. So once you up the stakes, you got to be careful about that. Is this something that you really want to do? Because you can't put that cat back in the bag. Yes, they resurrected Proteus on Krakoa, and they used him to edit everyone else's flaws. Yeah, bring back a murderer. He deserves a second chance. He only killed a bunch of humans. They're only humans. More cartoons. Mighty Mouse. I love that Mighty Mouse says Mighty Mouse on him. Heckle and Jekyll. The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show. The all-new Popeye Hour. Popeye used to be so big. Popeye was everywhere in the 70s. And now I would be surprised if kids even knew Popeye. The Fat Albert Show, Bill Cosby and the Cosby Kids and Fat Albert. For some reason, that's not on TV anymore. I don't know why. Anybody know why Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids aren't on TV anymore? Jason of Star Command. It was terrible, but I loved it. I also love this Tarzan Hour, this Batman show, Freedom Force, and 30 minutes news, because that's what kids want. Kids want to watch the news on Saturday morning cartoons. Whoever thought of that idea deserves to be fired. We got another ad over here, and this I love. I called it the John Byrne effect, but in reality, it's the Neil Adams effect. I didn't know who Neil Adams was at this point. Proteus hardly has time to react before she texts, Jean, what are you doing? So, boom, she's just blasted him. Again and again, Phoenix lashes out with a ferocity that shocks Moira and a power symphony within her, a song of joy that builds too quickly in its crescendo. He's down, but he's not giving up. Way to go, Jeannie. In a rough house, babe, you're my kind of gal, and my guts are churning. Proteus must be fighting back. So here's Wolverine. Wolverine is earning some heroic clout over here. He is freaking out. He's scared. This guy did some damage on him, but he's overcoming his fear and his freak out. Imagine being dead and buried. Then imagine how you'd feel, assuming you could feel after a year in the ground. That's how Proteus makes her. So he's warping reality, and he's warping her feelings now. So this is like an emotional control thing. He makes her feel as if she's been dead for a year. And that freaks out Cyclops. Phoenix, leave her alone. I love that lady, bub, and I'll see you dead before I let you hurt her again. So Wolverine just jumps out, and finally, Stab Man gets to stab somebody. Finally. We saw him fight. We saw him stabbing dinosaurs, and this is really the first time he's stabbing anybody. I was like, how can he be a superhero when his power is stabbing? You know what I mean? Like we saw off panel he killed a few people, but how So Magneto shows up with a bunch of henchmen, and then Wolverine, don't fight them. I mean, you're just going to kill them. How do you do non-lethal stabbing? But that's the way it goes. Oh, we got a comment in just in time. That X-ray panel is cool. Yeah. Yep, it is. It sure is. So he takes out Phoenix, and now Wolverine stabs Proteus. And then we got this Ed over here. And I love that scream. Jean's down. Hurt. No, I can't think about her now. I don't dare, or I'll crack wide open. I have to focus on the job at hand. Nothing else. So nobody else finds this suspect. Nobody else finds this suspect that for 10 issues in a row, Cyclops is going, I feel nothing. Jean Grey is dead. It doesn't bother me. Now I'm going to move on with Colleen Wing. And now Jean's back, and now he's obsessed with her. More evidence that he is being manipulated by yet another telepath. So Proteus, now I'm calling BS on this. Crazy wild man Wolverine wouldn't stop until Proteus is dead. So why you're kidding about us being expendable warrior? Jean's zapped bad, and you ain't even batting an eyelash. Short stuff. You're so off base about my brother. It's pathetic. But now isn't the time for a debate. So Havoc understands, and then hit him with everything you got. So Cyclops has blasted him. Havoc has blasted him. Two brothers. It's basically the same power, just different special effects, the way they draw it. And then Wolverine's getting Myra out of here. Sooner or later, sounds like Psyche and his brother aren't pulling their punches. Sure wish I was there to give him a hand. It's not over yet, Wolverine. I've hoped and prayed it would be another way, but now I know it won't really end until my boy is dead. So now Proteus manipulates his own body. I love that. And now they hit each other. Oh, that hurts. Good thing my body is able to metabolize most of the power of Alex's bolts, and is able to absorb mine, or we'd be wasted now. Proteus is going after Myra. Good luck, Wolverine. You're going to need it. So this begs the question then. If Proteus can manipulate his own body, why is Nightcrawler? Remember he said Nightcrawler's appearance was useful. He didn't take over Nightcrawler when he could have, because he couldn't blend in with normal humanity. But he can manipulate his body. So just manipulate Nightcrawler's body to look like Rock Hudson or Cary Grant. You know what I mean? It's inconsistencies. It's inconsistent. If he could transform his body, why does he look like a walking corpse? Is it because it expends energy to maintain that disguise? Maybe. Okay, I'll buy that for $1. I just talked myself out of it. I believe Wolverine's Berserker Rage is initiated when he's in extreme pain. Yes, yeah. I'll even say like high emotional states: panic, fear, danger, pain. Like if he's scared for his life, he could go into a Berserker Rage. I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Let's turn the page. Curse those mutants. I underestimated their power and skill. This body won't last much longer, and without a physical host, I'll quickly discorporate and cease to exist. Wolverine, what's wrong? Proteus is down. Proteus is doing something screwy to gravity. He's coming in like a rocket. I can barely move. So he's manipulating gravity. Wolverine and then he catches up and he grabs Myra again. And Wolverine is just falling from an extreme height. Cyclops, what do we do? Even Wolverine can't survive that big of a fall unless careful. I always thought this was cool. So Cyclops is just blasting him. Woo! Like gentle pulses just to slow him down. It's working. My pulse to optic blasts are slowing him down. Catch. And that stunt would have killed a normal person, but I figured Wolverine's adamantium skeleton could survive the hard knocks. I'm glad I was right. Colossus, get to the castle. You know what to do. Peter, good luck. I will not fail, Cyclops. Oh, man, I'm going to be black and blue forever. So now, it's my turn now. Is it? And after me, who's next? Death after endless death without thought or care or mercy. These are till there's no one left alive on earth save you. Is that what the future? Perhaps. You should have drowned me at birth, Myra, like an unwanted pet. I know You loved me. You tried to save me. I never wanted your salvation. Even as a child, I knew I had the power. I could hardly wait for my first chance to use it. An act of hatred and violence created me. I didn't get that for a long time, but remember, Joe McTaggart left Myra pregnant and hospitalized. Mother shaped me into what I am today. Out of that creation will come humanity's destruction, and of course, your own. You will destroy no one, monster. So he's about to take over Myra's body, killing her and keeping himself alive. So Colossus comes up and throws him. Boom. His body is so shambly that when it hits the wall, it just disintegrates. By the White Wolf. So that is Proteus' true form. I must take care. Cyclops said, in that state, Proteus will be both the most vulnerable and the most dangerous. He will desperate to steal another body. I must not let him. So there he is. He's just this energy spirit. Boom. There's the shambles, the ashes of Joseph McTaggart. What we got? Put the stars on the t-shirts. We got Cheryl Ladd, Suzanne Summers, Kiss, and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And Whoppers. Who doesn't like Whoppers? I got to say that Cheryl Ladd and Suzanne Summers had some Whoppers. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So we got trading cards. And so run, Peter. No. So now there's just like a sandstorm. He's attacking him. Why doesn't Proteus just initiate the mind transference? I don't know. Before they finally, I hear you laughing. I hear you talking about my life. You enjoy causing pain, death. Before I met you, I never understood evil. You are evil, Proteus, and you have made a fatal mistake. You toyed with me when you should have slain me, allowing me to change from Peter Rasputin to Colossus. That mistake will be your last. So I always love this panel. He transforms and then attacks. It feels like I'm grabbing millions of live wires as Colossus punches his organic steel fists into the heart of Proteus's energy form. I love that. This panel is just so good. And that's the beginning of his ordeal as Colossus' dense molecular structure totally disrupts the delicate balanced energy matrices that make up the rogue mutant. How's that for some gobbledygook? In a sense, he short-circuits Proteus' scatter every fabric of the villain's being, every scrap of consciousness to the four corners of the earth. The pyrotechnics lighting up the evening sky. Good Lord. Metal in any form is an anathema to Proteus. That's why I was counting on Colossus to finish the job the rest of us started. Looks like he's done that, but at what cost? Petey, don't be dead, big fella. I got enough. I've lost a few sparring partners as it is. Are you strong enough to fly us up there? I'll give it a try. So she just telepathically carries them. Where's Lorna? Where's Lorna? You know, she could have grabbed some metal and thrown it at him. She's, female Magneto. Then we got the first Marvel comic, the Micronauts, and Spider-Man meets June Jitsu. That's her name, June Jitsu. Why doesn't she show up in Marvel Comics? She shows up, just starts fighting. Is she an Electric Company creation? Is she a Twinkie Ed creation? And then Spider-Man defeats her with Twinkies because Spider-Man is a true hero, and Spider-Man understands that Twinkies are great, and only monsters like Brian Bowell like Hostess fruit pies. I don't even like the fruit pies apple pies at McDonald's. So now they're landing. Any sign of Proteus? Only faint residual traces, Scott. So that sets up that he could come back. She still detects some faint residual traces. So we could say it took me years to reform my body. You need not worry, Cyclops. Proteus is no more. My friends, I know Proteus was evil. I did what had to be done, yet I mourn. Myra, I have no words to comfort. Only my strength. Do not hold back your tears, small one. I will not rust. I like that. I'm proud of you, Petey. I couldn't have aced that sucker better myself. Thank you, Wolverine, I think. But hush now. Let Myra grieve in peace. I love them both, Cyclops, Joe and my son, and now they're gone. Part of me is glad, and the rest is numb. Perhaps a merciful God will pardon me for my part in this tragedy. I'll not forgive myself. Myra, Are you well, darling? Sure. So now they go off and comfort each other, and the X-Men all, give them a moment of privacy. Finn. It's funny. Finn. I remember this. My friend John, another guy that grew up, a lot of people named John. He was like, I'm going to get into comics. And he bought this comic. This was the first comic he bought. And he was asking me, what does Finn mean? I said, it means finished. It's the end. He's like, oh. This was his first, only, and last comic. He wasn't interested. He wasn't interested. And there we go. We got this TV show. We got this wonderful Rom ad. Rom has come. Evil is on the run. Parker Brothers. Rom. And then we got Lego. Look how beat up and yellow this is. So there you go. There's the end of Proteus. Next issue starts the Hellfire Club. And it's so good. I forgot this was a George Perez cover. Is this the first time George Perez drew the X-Men? I don't know. But my coffee's empty. So as normal, I will continue talking as long as the chat's moving. When the chat stops moving, I'll stop. I believe Wolverine's. Oh, yeah, we said that already. Omnipotent, great comic. Off the church. See you next time. Avengers Assemble. Oh, speaking of Avengers Assemble, Saturdays at 10 a.m., I'm going to do Avengers Assemble. I'm going to do the same thing. So Saturdays at 10 a.m., Sundays. Now, the thing is, I'm at the overtime time of this job. It's supposed to be done in June. So we got April, May, June. So now it's the crunch time. So if I'm not working overtime, I will do Avengers Assemble every Saturday at 10 a.m. from now on. No, but work gets in the way. I always thought Rom looked cool, but I never really got into it. The comic was great. The comic was absolutely. It was better than it had any right to be, based on a toy, and a crummy toy at that. I know a couple people get mad when I say that, but the Rom toy, I didn't particularly like the toy, but the comic was so good, and it was very influential. They created a race of beings called the Dire Wraiths, and the Dire Wraiths were like Proteus in the fact that they would hit you in the barb, and then they would basically dehydrate you and you would just melt, and then they would become you. Terrifying villains, horror monster villains, and they fought the X-Men. They were a big deal. The Dire Wraiths, and then I guess they got defeated. Then you found out that all the Dire Wraiths that we knew were males, and the females were even scarier. There was like a whole second wave, and they used dark magic. So the males were just aliens that took over your body, which is terrifying. But then the females were sorcerers. Really, really great comic. Now I have to check it out. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, you see, he knows. Yeah, the male Dire Wraiths were just body stealing, genes stealing aliens, and then the females were terrifying witches, space witches. What else do you want? It was a really good comic. I recommend. When I say recently reread it, I'm saying probably around 2007. I reread the whole series, which is, geez, that's a long time ago now, and it held up. I got it monthly, and I remember liking it. But man, it is better than I thought. And because of the licensing issues, it wasn't really reprinted, and Marvel kind of stopped talking about Rom. And I think they stopped talking about like Dire Wraiths and stuff, because there was a lot of stuff in Rom that was created by Marvel that they could use. And the same with the Micronauts. Like Bug was made by Marvel. As far as I know, Marionette was made by Marvel. So I don't know why Bug and Marionette aren't sure. I think Bug has shown up in Guardians of the Galaxy. But the Micronauts and Rom, only recently did they start reprinting them. They are so good. The female Dire Wraiths were most of who we saw. The men worked on the ships. I remember that the females were the witches and the males were the ones that did but whatever. Doesn't matter. But I just remember that once they defeated one type, the second type came and they were even scarier. They and then they would summon what was it? The black. There was a shadow bird or something like that. It was and it was pretty gruesome because you were seeing humans get vaporized. You know what I mean? In a comic book based on a kid's toy by a board game company, Parker Brothers. I wonder if the Parker Brothers people were reading the comics like, this is too scary, And then it was drawn by Sal Buscema, at least the beginning, and then written by Bill Mantlo. Bill Mantlo, he wrote Micronauts. I mean, he wrote a lot, but I'm remembering he wrote the Micronauts. He wrote ROM, and then he went on to write the worst run of Alpha Flight. Oh God, it was abysmally bad. I feel bad saying that because I was a big fan of Bill Mantlo's work. But there you go. My printer is now automatically cleaning itself. If you're wondering what that noise is, printer's right over here. I don't know what else to say. What else? Oh, at this point, I guess I'll tell you the week schedule. Let's see now. So, what do I have? So tomorrow, I have Vinny Tartamella at midnight, and I know I got something else. Oh yeah. So, okay, yeah. So tomorrow night I got Vinny Tartamella, and then I think Thursday night is Bat Merc, and then next Friday is It's Clobbering Time, Most Inconsistent Characters. That's my schedule for the week. Although I do have a big pile of comics that I read, so maybe Tuesday night I'll do comics, so I can show off all the comics that I've read, and then I can put them away. But I can't file them and put them away until I do that video. So I also would like to do character creation and just roll, with everybody's participation, make up a character using V&V rules, put the rule book right here, put a piece of paper down here, and then we all, as a group, just make up a character. I think that would be fun to do. So that's my plans for the week. We'll see. Oh, also Wednesday, I have comic book team up with RJ, and that's the plans for the week. And I was just about to say goodbye, but then we got a comment. Bat Merc was great on the studio last night. Yeah, Bat Merc's a cool guy. Bat Merc is a cool guy. Good. I'm glad. So I don't know what else to say other than pages are coming in. Heroic Tales 2 is being colored. I just got another page when I woke up. It looks awesome. What else do I got to say? I got other stories. Pages are coming in. Pages. And sooner rather than later, Patriarch #1 campaign will launch. I can't help but come up with ideas. I have issues up to 7 planned for the Patriarch, and I think I'm going to change around the order because one story I think I need to get that out first. So doesn't matter. You guys don't know the order in my mind, but I think I'm going to change the schedule around of the Patriarch stories because one story I think needs to be told first. But that's neither here nor there. So I guess we're done. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow with Vinny, and it's time to say goodbye, kids.
Goodbye, kids.